You're just not my type at all.
Damn.
What makes him not your type at all?
His face.
You're just not cute to me.
Damn, I got it right.
Sorry.
You got kids?
I do.
How many kids you
I
got?
have one.
You been married before?
I'm not.
Sorry, that's a deal breaker. I mean, how old are you?
38.
Yeah,
So what was the deal breaker? The fact that she has kids and she's not married? Or the
No,
fact
he-
that she has kids?
I didn't hear that last part. I think she said the last part I heard was she's 38. I mean, we're just talking about geriatric pregnancy rates in 38. So if she wants to have kids, it's a big risk right there. But I think it's because she has a kid and she's not married, or maybe I could be wrong. But either way, you know what? Hey, it's
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
married, you got kids. That's a deal breaker. I don't like quitters. You might as
Oh damn,
well say you're probably good at it.
Damn.
that's
Might as
cold.
well stay single.
Single,
You're
yeah.
probably
You're
good
probably
at it.
good at it. That's cold.
That's
Cold.
ironically, you think that's cold? I think that's the dopest line ever.
No. As in cold. Look, dude, I wouldn't say it, but I mean, that was cold to
I
her.
would.
But I wouldn't say it. It's cold, but you know, I
It's
do
reality.
I like what he said? Yes, but it's cold.
Kevin Samuels, rest in peace.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. I remember he was harsh. He was hardcore. We should try to look for it. He basically said, "You're never gonna get any better than your baby father." To any woman,
That is deep.
you know.
That is deep. But yeah, that is deep. For any woman or just majority of women? It has to be majority
Any
because
woman.
you can't, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I can cite a few examples, but
When you go out and make babies with a man, that's it. You can't really expect to get higher than your baby daddy.
Hmm.
And especially when you come with 3, 4, and 5 baby back to back to back to back,
I see what you're saying.
you're not looking for a stepfather. You're looking for a sucker
I see what he's saying. I see what he's saying.
with all that stuff
Yeah.
going on. And I'm not supposed to say that. So it's important that you choose who you choose to have your kids with. So now, when you go out and make
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, did I
But
tell
the
you
thing about it is that-
I actually met him?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I didn't know how popular he was, right? I was in Atlanta with a buddy of mine, and we were at this bar or something, and he just walked in, and people were looking at him. The guy's, oh yeah, that's Kevin Samuels. I was like, oh, who's Kevin Samuels? I was like, oh, don't you know Kevin Samuels? Like the guy who talks about women. I'm like, oh yeah, because I had seen one or two of his clips. This is before he passed away, obviously. And you know, he's pretty tall. He's a tall guy. You know, like well put together and everything. I was like, oh, cool. And he was just there, just chilling, just hanging out. He had this one guy, who I assume is his bodyguard, who was a bigger guy, but nobody really, you know, everyone was just like chilling. But he was just chilling, like normal guy, no issues, nothing. But I mean, I didn't expect any different, right? Because you know, and then next thing you know, later on, I heard he passed away. I'm like, oh man, that guy seemed like a cool guy, you know. And then I started watching his
Yeah,
videos and
yeah.
stuff, and I realized why he was so controversial. Sorry. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't meet him,
It's pretty
but
neat.
I saw him.
You're in awe of him. I get it.
I should have taken pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, no, back to what he's saying, the statement. It's interesting, but I totally don't disagree because, I think about it. I think I said this before, but I feel bad, but I was a single father and I had no desire to be with a single mother. I feel bad because I was a single father, but
It's
the
different.
reality is though,
Yeah.
the reason why is that if I dated someone with a child, I now have to be with that. If I dated someone with a child, I now have to invest in that woman's child as well. Because 90% of the time, the women are with the children versus me, my kids are with their mother, right? I'm not saying we had your custody, but the point is, as a father, my nurturing side is not as big as a woman, right? That's just their job, and mine is to provide. So I did child support, But the point is, I dated my wife, and the children never got involved. It wasn't like I gotta find a babysitter every time and blah and this and that. Versus me dating if I was single, or back then before I married my wife, if I was single, marrying, dating a woman with children, you got to deal with babysitters. That woman might want you to pay for the babysitter.
Yeah, I was gonna add to that
And
actually.
I,
Yeah. I think
yeah, go ahead.
sorry to cut you short, but I think what it is that the other side of it is, and I'm agreeing with you, is if you're with a single woman or a woman with children, you're expected to provide, as opposed to you being a single father, she's not expected to provide. You provide for your kids. So that's a difference. And that's what, that's the way society would look at
Hmm.
it. Now, there are some single women out there who have kids that don't, subscribe to that, but that's the expectation. Like if you want to buy her something or take her on a trip, she has kids, you gotta consider her kids. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Most women would think that way. I mean, there's some outliers, but the exception doesn't make the rule. So that's, I was just wanted to
exactly.
buttress your point, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, 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 that was pretty much it. But yeah, you don't get any higher than your baby dad.
Now I
I
get
think
that
that
comment.
sentiment makes a lot
Yeah,
of sense.
yeah,
Yeah, it's tough to say, but and again, it comes down to it even just from a man's perspective. Why? If I'm a high value man, I'm making X
yeah. That's a
dollars, I'm
term,
making
high
this much
value
money.
man. Yeah,
Why do I need to downgrade to you and deal with your kid? Like, I'm just being honest, right? Don't get me wrong, you're a nice person, beautiful, but why, if I'm high value, why do I need to? I just being honest, And I'm not just talking about me, I'm just talking about anyone else in the 1%. And I think
Mhm.
both of us are in the 1%. I think that, and I'm talking about just people that make over 100,000. Despite what popular belief, let's see, what percentage of, let's just do Americans, American men earn,
It's like
earn
15%.
over 100K
I think it's
per
American
year.
people. It's 15%.
American people, I just said men.
Oh,
So
okay.
approximately 25%. By
American
comparison,
men.
only 13. Yeah, what percentage of American men earning over 100,000 per year?
Okay, so
2025.
it's gone up.
Yeah, 25% of American. By comparison, only 13 to 50% of all U.S. workers, regardless of gender, earn over 100,000 annually. So I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of
Hold
people
on a sec.
think
Sorry.
100,000.
25% of men and comparison 30. Okay, that makes sense because women sometimes more. Okay, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the median individual income in U.S. all genders around 50,000, with the average pulled higher by top owners. The gender gap remains significant. About 12% of women earn over 100% compared to 25% of men, which is interesting. Um, but yeah, so I guess if we're in the 25%, I would consider myself high value because there's 75% of people that are below me. Um, and then let's even go wild. How about over 200, over 200,000, 200K? And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a lot less. Let's see here. So 9%. 9% of American men earn more than 200,000 per year. This group represents a much smaller share compared to those earning 100,000. So again, my whole thing, why would I get like it's a tough thing, and I really feel bad because again, if I was single, I hate not being equal. You know what I mean? I have kids, but it's just so different, right?
Hmm.
Men just don't have that. I'll never forget. I was a terrible father, not terrible father, but I sucked at
Whoa,
doing the whole night
whoa,
thing.
whoa. This guy, man.
No, like, no, I sucked at, I used to cringe, not cringe, but my daughters would need cuddling and they need nighttime stories. And I read the bedtime story. But once it's done, I'm out. Like, all right, let's go.
Just want to
Versus
get out of
when
there,
my
man.
wife, yeah, when my wife, at the time she's my fiance, when she came back from university and she finished university, so she was spending more time with us. She was away for 4 years. she would do this whole show. They'd make these plays. Again, same nighttime routine, the same, bedtime story situation. But they would make it into a play. They would dress up sometimes. I'm like, I would never do this. I would
Never.
never do this.
No.
Like,
And
what?
it,
This is a woman thing.
it goes back to, like this whole nurture, nature conversations and all that stuff. Women are nurturers, man. Like that can never be replaced. And that's why we do well together
Yeah.
as opposed to being apart. All these people who try to promote, like, don't get, be with the woman and all that. A child needs both parents in the household. I
Exactly.
think that's the optimal for how a child would be raised for how a child will function in society is both parents being
100%.
present.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I would say, not to just pull hairs, but I would say it's a 55-45 thing. So 55%
55 for
more
who?
so on the father, for the father,
From
45
what
for the mother.
from what aspect? Provision or nurture?
Just in general. In general. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is because I think, and you said it before, a father trends and leans more towards a dual parent household. And that's what's important. A father tends to lean more, if a single father tends to lean more towards a dual parent household, and a mother, though they're amazing nurturers, the challenge though is that a mother instinctively wants to protect. And sometimes they don't realize that protection is also hurting, right? I let my kids fall. They have to fall. I don't want them to fall, but they have to fall. I can't protect them. Versus a mother will instantly just want to protect them. There's exceptions to the norm. Don't get me wrong. There's always exceptions. But even with my mom, with my kid's mother, with my wife and our son, I just see it. If I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert at it, but I have my mother to attest to this. I have my baby mother to attest to this, and I have my wife to attest to this. So I kind of think I'm educated in this scenario. I've seen time and time and time again this protectionist, this this nurturing side that supersedes the logic of, okay, this isn't working, there's a problem. Now, don't get me wrong, there is value in disciplining through love versus disciplining through pain. That's what a father does. I think not necessarily physical, not always physical, but pain in terms of deprivation. Again, not anything crazy, but depriving, delayed gratification, strict rules. I think that's more of a father type way to discipline versus a mother. It's more just kind of convince, talk to them, motivate them. You're amazing. You're doing better. You just got to do this. And again, nothing wrong with that. But I just think a father has more tenets that are more conducive to an environment that would produce a more well-balanced child. So that's why I stick with 45-55.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm making money,
yeah.
so why not spend?
Yeah.
You come to Puerto Rico.
Sorry, you want to say something?
No, I was just processing what you were saying, but let's react to another video. It'll come to me. Yeah. That dude is just a beast, man, when it comes to what he's doing out there. Like, and he's only like, what, 20 or 21? He's just a kid.
I know.
He's doing so well, man.
Well, my concern is I just think, and this is where I'm so happy that I grew up in the 90s. And yes, I was born in 1979, but I was 10 years, in the 90s, I was around 10 or 11. So my point is
Gotcha.
I grew up in the 90s.
Gotcha.
And my point, what I'm trying to say is, I feel sorry. I almost feel like these kids don't have a soul because there's certain progressions you need to go through in life.
That's a deep one. It was
Yeah.
I
Well, there's certain progressions you have to go through in life, right? And we had to first kiss, spin the bottle, your first breakup, your first girlfriend, your first boyfriend, all these firsts, but they were real. They were isolated. It wasn't just this, everything's out there. Everything's just to your point, or we were talking off camera about this, OnlyFans, all this stuff. I remember someone had to bring the Hustler magazine to the class. and they would pass it around, and that was it. That's all you ever saw of a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like back in those days it was innocent, and we got to do things, hide and go seek, go outside, don't come back until dark, right? That's what built us. That's what created and formed the foundation of who we are and what we do in this generation. I Show Speed, amazing, proud of him. But what the hell do you do for the rest of your life? You have everything you need already at 20 years old.
But
What's there to gain? What
So-
do you do?
here's my pushback. There's a
What do
little
you
bit of
do?
Pushback. Yeah, but I mean, our parents said the same thing about us too. Like their generation, they didn't have this, they didn't do that, but we turned out fine. We turned out well for the most part.
I don't remember my parent. I don't remember my dad
No,
saying, "Oh,
by
I wish I
by
had
what I
hip-hop."
mean, by
No.
what no, not that. By that I mean the technology we had during our time, our parents did not have. I mean, it's not as advanced as it is now, but compared to their times when we were growing up, they didn't have all these games. They didn't have as much access to watch TV or TV shows because it wasn't that prevalent then. So those things they saw as the way we see these kids now going through social media for the most part. Technology is faster and more advanced, but I think that they were probably thinking about how these kids are going to turn out. How are they going to turn out with all these conveniences that they have versus when they were growing up, they didn't have conveniences. Cars weren't that prevalent when my dad was growing up, right? Or my dad and mom, right? So many things weren't that, like there was nothing like Betamax or VHS. There was nothing like computers. They only had typewriters for the most part. They could only watch or listen. They could only, like, for instance, they wanted to watch a soccer match, they had to listen on the radio. Like those type of things, right? That was when they were growing up. But when we were growing up, we had TVs, we had all the others, we had computer games. I mean, it was old, Atari. They had all these conveniences, but we still turned out well. Because to them, they're thinking
Well,
the same way we're thinking about these kids is how they're going to turn up. Like how, like you're saying that he's
well,
making money at 20. That's the new norm. So they will adapt, is what my point is. They'll adapt the same way we
well, I
adapted.
guess. Well, I guess the difference is we didn't adapt because leisure life and leisure tools, we grew up. So you're right. My parents didn't grow up just sitting around listening to CKLN, 88.1, mixing and doing turntables and DJing and watching spin-offs and marathons of Married with Children. They didn't do that. They didn't have that, right? So I guess what I'm saying is the biggest thing between our parents is there's a lot more leisure. We have a lot more leisure things. We got a lot of more things that can rot our brains where we just sit around doing nothing, mindless. So I get that from that perspective. But the pursuit of happiness still exists. So yes, we had a lot of time to waste, but we still had to earn or find a way to make money to get what we wanted, which is the pursuit of, let's call it, what's the word? Not monetary, but material happiness, right? Material happiness, getting the car, getting this, getting that. So I'm not denying that, but I personally don't think this is the same apples to apples. This is a 20-year-old kid who's not developed, right? We're not developed at 20 years old, but we have leisure life, but we still have to go through the pursuit of making money. And that process, lies that process for us to grow up, to learn, to get the job, to know how to negotiate, to make more money, get a child, make a little bit more money, lose some money with the child, and then you get that job, that pursuit. This young man, again, I'm proud of him too, but he has everything he needs in life right now at the age of 20. He hasn't even finished puberty. I just think that's a leap year. That's leaps ahead of what we went through. We never had that. We had a lot of new leisure time. We had a lot of new leisure. We didn't have to worry about this. We had TV. We had those things. That's our time. This man has time and he has money. What else is there? Because if you really think about it, that's what we're trading. We're trading time for money. We work 8 hours, someone pays our time, and then we do the job. This man has both. So that's what I'm trying to say, Jai. What is
Okay.
left? Other than
Before we-
time and money, what else is there?
Yeah, I mean, I know time is, but let me just close out with this. 1,000 years ago, or maybe even 500 years ago, a man at 16 was a full grown man. He would have a child or two at that age. He would have his own hut or house or whatever it was, and he would be the gatherer for his family, right? That was back then. Those times, that's what happened, and they survived. Fast forward to our time, that was them. That was the Stone Age, pretty much, when they didn't have any technology. Fast forward to our time, when we realize, okay, well, you're too young. Even it's part of my parents' generation, they got married younger. Our generation, we're getting married older. All I'm trying to say is there's a transient change in generations. Everyone turned out well. Everyone turned out fine. Because the times have changed, things adapt with them. So you're going to have a lot of kids who make millions of dollars, find they haven't hit puberty. I mean, that's what you said, but they'll mature based on the environment and the way society is being built. So he's 20. There's probably other 20-year-olds and there's other kids out there that are making money, and there's tons of them, Kai Cenat and the rest of them, right? There's gonna be this, somehow they'll find a way to survive and adapt to it, because fine, they have a long life to live, but this is their time. This is the internet generation. This is a fast-paced generation. They'll adapt. I think they'll just be fine. We're looking at it from our lens of our generation, the way we grew up, but we can't do that to them because that's not how they grew up. That's not what they're exposed to now, is not what we were exposed to while we were growing up, right? Technology is changing with time. So I think they'll be fine, and I'll leave it at that. But hey, you can come back with your rebuttal.
All right. I think they'll all be dead in 10 years.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. They'll be fine. They'll be more than fine. We'll be here to see them continue to succeed and be okay, and there'll be others that will come
I'm
after
joking.
them.
Of
course, I know.
I'm joking.
I know.
The only reason why I have a sliver of truth is because, like I said, who's telling them to? I couldn't afford McDonald's, so I had to eat my mom's food. That's all I'm trying to say.
But
right?
that's
what kept.
But that's because we didn't know that we didn't have social media then. If we had social media then, what makes you think that we wouldn't be doing the same things that they're doing now at that age?
No, I'm not denying that. I guess what I'm just trying to say though is, my point is, I didn't have the money to buy McDonald's every day. And so when you have the money at that age to buy whatever you want, what's the incentive for you to eat healthy when you're always on the move, when you're always on the go?
You gotta look healthy?
No, dude. LeBron James Bronny had a heart attack at 20-something years old.
But that's not because
I'm
he's
just
not
saying,
healthy. Who knows? Maybe it could be something else. Maybe it's genetical.
Dude.
Maybe it's I'm sorry, not genetical. Maybe it's genetic.
All right. Okay. All right.
Maybe it's
all I'm saying.
COVID vaccine. Who knows?
All I'm saying is, you got to remember, when you're young, your body is so resilient. It can cover up a lot of things. Like you could eat anything because of your metabolism when you're young. I remember I used to go to the gym. Oh my goodness. I would eat junk. I would go to the gym for 3 days. Boom, abs. I loved it. It was so amazing. Can I do that now? Hell no. What I'm just trying to say is, you're right, we're a different generation, but our bodies physiologically are different. And to your point with respect to the olden days, you're right. But that's where things were a little bit different. We were of an age. We were mature, right? A woman got her blood at 12, 13 years old. She's a woman. Only now in society we say, okay, wait to have sex at, when you're 30 and whatever. My point is, technically, that was what should be happening. We all should be married in our early teens, right? It's just because over time we've gotten more and more leisure time. But we still have always had the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit and the progression of getting what we want: houses, cars, this, that. These kids have it instantly, and I just think it's a bit different. I watch Aiden Ross, I watch all these guys. You really think they got a mother downstairs saying, "Come eat your green beans"? Really? No, they don't. It is a house full of a bunch of kids that are having an amazing time. And don't get me wrong, I remember I used to love the house parties. I love the house parties. but having a house party every single day, I don't know. So, like I said,
they'll be fine, Kevin.
your
They'll
body,
they'll grow out
your
of it,
body is
and they'll
amazing when you're
realize
young. Good luck when you're older. Yeah. So we'll
they'll be
see.
fine.
We'll see if they all die. And I'm just joking, guys. All right, guys. Another Reaction Wednesday. Hope y'all found it interesting. Please don't blow up at me on the comments. All right, like and subscribe.
Bye, guys.